Hey guys, this is Nick Brown at JTech today, and today we are going to be going over the air system check. Okay. First thing you want to do in an air system check, and this is test 1, we're going to be checking the tank pressures, okay, between the primary and the secondary tank. Okay, in this case we are in an international TranStar, so best thing to do to start off this video is with both tanks at 0. In this case I have one tank just above 0. It's aired up just a little bit, and the other tank is at its not full pressure, but it's almost there, almost 100. Okay, so basically what we want to do is we want to start the truck up, and we want to be making sure that our warning light is on to check. Make sure basically when a tank is below its specified pressure for operating pressure, we're going to be checking if the warning light is active and working correctly. Okay, so I want to start the truck up and I want to air the tanks up. Okay, I want to push in my clutch and start it. Okay, alright, there we go. Our warning light is on, as you can see. At this case, if you want, you can idle up the truck to get the air tanks to pressure up faster. Okay, now our tank is above 60 psi. Our warning light had just kicked off right above 60 psi when the needle hit above or over 60 psi, so we know that our warning light is working properly. Okay, and that's for both tanks. Okay, as you can see, we are airing up the tanks at this moment. Okay, so both of our air tanks, both primary and secondary, are aired. Okay, so basically at this point what we're also going to be testing is testing the air compressor. Alright, so whenever the air compressor kicks on and off, basically okay, so what we are going to be testing at this point is we are going to be testing the air compressor cycle. Okay, so we have hit maximum pressure in both of our primary and secondary tanks. So we're going to be listening to the air dryer, that purge sound that's coming from the air dryer. What that does is every time you hear that sound, that means the air compressor has cycled. Okay, that means the governor is working properly, as well as it means the air compressor is cycling properly, as well as the air dryer is getting rid of all those contaminants and the water out from the air system before it gets into any other parts of the air system that could possibly damage it. Okay, so I'm going to start the truck back up, and we're going to be listening for the air dryer. Alright, we just heard one little purge of the air dryer. Okay. Alright, our air dryer is actually back here. Right down there, as you can see the little wet spot down there. You got your primary and your secondary and your supply tank, okay, and your air dryer is right there. As you can see, the little bit of water that's on the ground, the air dryer has purged. Alright, so the air compressor has cycled and the governor has kicked out the maximum pressure throughout the air system. Okay, so therefore that test is complete. We can move on to the second air test. Step 2 to testing the air brakes. Okay, so basically what step 2 is we're going to be doing a leak test throughout the whole air system. Okay, so basically I want to be operating every possible air system component in the air system, making sure I'm getting air through all the lines to test for any leaks. Okay, I'm not going to be starting the truck. Okay, I'm going to be turning the key to the on position. Alright, so at this point I have the truck in first gear. Okay, I have the selector switch all the way down, as well as I have the park and brake released. I have the clutch engaged, as well as in first gear holding the truck down because the parking brake is released. Okay, as well as I want to pull the air supply for the trailer. Okay. Okay. Alright, once I have my parking brake released and I have the truck in first gear, I have the clutch engaged, I have the truck on. Okay, I do not have the engine running, okay, because it is in gear. Alright, and basically what we're going to be testing is whole leak down throughout the system. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to pump the brakes, okay, and at the same time, and I want to at the same time, I'm going to be watching my air gauges and watching a leak down. The state of Florida requires you for 1 minute for a leak down test. Okay, so we're going to be pumping the brakes for 1 minute, watching any unsafe leak rates. Okay, so we're watching both air tanks, which are these two gauges right here, and I'm going to be pumping the brakes for 1 minute. You basically want to get your stopwatch out, and you want to test this for 1 minute because this is a very strict procedure that the state of Florida requires. Okay, this is law. So, especially when you're towing, shoot, from 40 to 80,000 pounds out on the road, you definitely want these brakes to stop you safely. Okay, so I want to begin pumping the brakes. Okay, that minute is up. Okay, so basically during that leak test, we just basically did the basic air leak test to make sure it didn't drop at a dangerous rate. Okay, as far as pumping the brakes. If you were in the city and let's just say you were in stop and go traffic, that would be a good procedure to base it off of. Okay, pumping the brakes would simulate a stop and go traffic instance to the point to where the air system in the truck would not run out of air and the driver wouldn't be forced to pull over off the side of the road to stop his truck safely. Okay, so you definitely want these brakes to work. Okay, so at the same time, you want to have the air systems pressurized all the way up. Okay, and you want to walk around the truck and listen for any hissing. Okay, and that's what we are going to do right now. Okay, so I'm outside the truck and I'm going to be listening for any hissing inside the air lines. The hissing sound, basically what that does is it pinpoints any kind of leak that this truck might possibly have in the air system, from all the way to the airbags, all the way to the relay valves, to the quick release valve, to the foot brake pedal, all of that. Okay, I want to be listening for any kind of hissing noise. Let's listen very carefully. Okay. Want to walk to the front of the truck. Okay, so I did not hear any hissing noises, so therefore I know that there are not any major leaks within the system that could possibly lead to a dangerous case scenario. Okay, So with that, that's on to test number 3. Okay, so this is test number 3. Okay, so we are going to be checking the parking brake. Basic operation of the parking brake: it's push to release, pull it to activate the parking brake. Okay. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be testing when the parking brake activates. We are not going to be doing this by hand. Okay, we're going to just be testing basically when the air pressure inside the primary and the secondary get below a certain pressure. This knob, when I push to release it, okay, parking brakes are disengaged, obviously. Okay, so I'm going to leave them disengaged, and I'm going to pump the brakes to an unsafe pressure to where this knob will pop back out, and I want to make sure this knob pops back out. Should be somewhere in the range of 20 to 35 psi, so we should see that from the gauges. Okay, so with that, I'm going to push to release the parking brake. At the same time, it's a good safety precaution to have the truck chalked, especially if you're on a incline like we are on right now. Okay, so truck's in neutral. Okay, so once I release this parking brake, if the truck's not chalked and it's on an incline, it's going to start rolling backwards, forwards, whatever. Okay, so with that, I'm going to release the parking brake. Okay, and I want to pump the brakes. Okay, so at that point we just saw our parking brake knob release, so we know the parking brake valve assembly and the trailer valve assembly is working correctly behind the dash here. Okay, so our parking brake is working correctly, so therefore this truck passes its parking brake air brake test inspection.